going to kick it off. So welcome, my name is Ali Raskin. I have been using essential oils now. I feel like it's like been using, yes, I've been incorporating essential oils and Young Living products into my life for, I think it's 9 years now. I need to do the math, 9 or 10 years now. They have truly changed our lives. This crunchy, oily world that people like to call it, I got into because a very, very sick baby, this must be 9 years because he is turning 12 in January. And really, this has transformed our lives. We went from really mom desperation to full mom empowerment, that we know what to do with our health, that we have on our countertops, what we need to grab. In many, many cases, most cases, I can say that we went from visiting the doctor very often to going for the checkups that we need to get for school sign-offs. And the doctor says, see you next time, right? This is like really, really amazing as a mom to be able to say these things, especially when you go from having a child that you think is going to die, literally, to that mode. It's really amazing and empowering, and it makes you feel just unbelievable as a mom. So the first thing I want to talk about is the not as fun things, is why we need to know what we have on our home. And the fact is that most of people on this call, I would venture to say almost all the people on this call are women. And women tend to be the gatekeepers of our home, meaning that we're the ones that do the majority of the shopping. We're the ones who make most of the decisions for what goes on in our home. And so we need to feel empowered to know what we're bringing into our homes and to make the changes if necessary. And for me, like I said, I had a very sick baby, so it made a huge difference. I had to literally go around my home and throw all the things into a garbage bag because he was so sensitive and so sick that I had to know every ingredient on every package. We're not going to do a whole class on toxins. We have those classes we can share with you, but what I will tell you is that there are toxins in just about everything in this world, right? We're surrounded by them. We can only control so much, right? But we can control our home, which is where we spend most of our time. So please do some research. There are some great websites you can go to. You can even just Google, the most toxic ingredients and read them. But the one that I'm going to mention to you right now is the one that even all the natural products, or the vast majority of the natural, pure, organic products have in them, and that is the word fragrance. The word fragrance is actually protected by trademark law, that a company's fragrance is their trademark scent, right? So the consumer industry has lobbied for this so that they can make that a secret. Yes, the fragrance is the F word. Yes, it's really literally a dumping ground for chemicals because they don't have to spell out those chemicals in the packaging. By law, if they were following the law, they could have up to 300 chemicals in that one word. And in the US, only 11 chemicals have been banned, which nothing has even been banned since the 80s. Just to give you an idea, in Europe, they have 1,100 chemicals, I think, or more banned there. And what's even scarier is even those 11 deadly chemicals that have been banned are found time and time again in today's products because no one tests for them. There is no oversight on what goes into, especially those cosmetic products and those cleaning products. So know that you do not have to have chemicals that are hiding in the word fragrance to be clean, to be beautiful. So all of those cosmetic products, all of those cleaning products, sorry, I have a puppy who opens my door and just walks into my office. So sorry for the distraction. You do not need chemicals to be clean or beautiful. We have plants for these things, right? Plants can smell amazing and they can have such healing and cleaning products, cleaning properties. And when you think about what you clean for, you're cleaning to kill bacteria and viruses, and plants have been known for thousands of years to digest bacteria and viruses, which is even better than how we clean with those chemicals that actually explode bacteria, which is not good because it just makes them get worse later. So that's why plants are better, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So what is an essential oil? An essential oil comes from plants. typically from the leaves, the roots, the stems of a plant for the vast majority. There's a couple exceptions to that, like citrus fruits, which are cold pressed from the rind of the fruit, and things like resin oils. Think of frankincense and myrrh and elemi. Those types of oils are actually distilled from the resin of a plant. So typically a tree. So there's a huge popularity these days in essential oils. And in my neighborhood in Dallas, Texas, we have stores on every single corner where I live that all sell essential oils. And even our gas station, you can find essential oils. So what does that mean? We really have to know what is the difference, because there's no regulatory agency making sure that what we get is safe to use topically, to use internally. So when you look at those bottles and you see the label, do not ingest, it says, and it has an expiration date on it, or you see do not use internally or topically. These are red flags. And why are they red flags? Is because the vast majority of essential oil companies are diffusing, or I should say are distilling those oils by using chemicals. So what happens is they have these brokers that go to all these different farmers and they say, we want to buy your crop on this date. So the farmer who has their cash crop, this is their livelihood, they need to make as much money as possible off of their crop, and then, bless them for that. But they need to make sure they have as much crop as possible. So they use pesticides and they use herbicides to keep the pests away. And then they chop them down on a date that they're given, not the date that's best for that plant. And then the broker comes and they combine all of that plant matter, let's say eucalyptus. They combine all this eucalyptus from all these different farmers, they put it in a vat and they pour antifreeze, which is the same thing that your air conditioning unit runs off of, all over the plant, and it makes the plant start producing oils. And then they cook off the chemical, which much of the chemical is still there. And then they sell them to all these marketing companies, like at my gas station, at my local health food store, and then they start diluting those oils with other things. So when you get that bottle, you don't know how much is carrier oil, how many chemicals have gone in there, how much is essential oil. You can have a drop of essential oil. You could literally even have a fragrance that is sold as an essential oil. It's literally all chemical. So we really have to know what we are buying. How do we know? We go back to that old phrase, know thy farmer. And in the case of Young Living, we can know thy farmer. So why Young Living? So Young Living is one of the only companies to own their own farms and distilleries, and then have very special arrangements with family farms who are trying to stay alive. They partner with these farms, these family farms, and make sure that they follow what's called our seed to seal promise, making sure that every seed is analyzed before it goes into the ground, that this is going to be a good plant that comes from a good growth from the last season, that the soil is prepared properly. Never is a chemical used on the soil. All the weeding is either done by hand or by animals. We're now experimenting with animals eating the weeds in the farms. And every single plant is harvested at the exact time of its peak production of essential oils. If you look at our farm in Mona, they test lavender every single hour when it's time for harvesting. So no one else does this kind of thing. Then every batch of oil goes through, I think it's 42 tests before bottling, and then after again. So after bottling. So what we are looking for is it a good distillation? Do they have all the chemical constituents necessary? Are the chemical constituents at a high enough level? Did anything inorganic get on there? Is there any residue of a heavy metal that somehow got into that oil? All these things are tested for. And in fact, when you pick up an oil, you will see that every single oil has a lot number on there, where we can tell you the day, the time, the farm that oil came from. I don't know of any other company that does that. On top of the quality assurance and the purity that you get from Young Living, knowing that everything that's listed on the bottle is exactly what is in the bottle. Nothing hiding, nothing missing, full transparency. but it's also a company that has a heart. And the biggest way that I can tell you. So I came from corporate America. I worked for massive corporations where it was all about shareholder wealth. And in the case of Young Living, there are no shareholders. It is a family-owned company that gets to do what they believe is right, because that's the kind of company, this kind of family that this company is. So the family always says we make a product for a purpose, not for a profit. And that is how they run the business. And it is the most refreshing thing ever to be a part of that. So let's see here. I think let's quickly talk about ways to use essential oils. So going forward, we are only going to talk about Young Living oils. Please do not use these ways to use oils with any other company, because I cannot speak for their quality, their purity, their safety. So let's talk about how we use oils. The first way is topical. I'm sorry, I'm trying to shut down these windows here that are making noises in the background. Like I said earlier, we have too many windows open, right? Too many things to make noises. So when we talk about using essential oils, we can use them in I would argue 4 different ways. The first is topical. So if I've got a knee that is cranky with the weather, then I can apply an oil topically directly to that knee to make that discomfort dissipate, right? Other ways we can use oils topically, and by the way, there's a couple of gotchas on topical places you don't want to put in oil. Inside your eyeballs and inside your eardrums. You do not want to put them directly inside. That being said, around your eyes and around your ears, totally fine. Just be careful with hotter oils, and you'll learn what I mean about hotter later. But if you do get something that bothers your eyes, you just want to add a carrier oil. So carrier oil is that fatty, greasy oil that's cold pressed and organic, ideally, from the pit of a fruit. So think of things like coconut oil, olive oil, there's jojoba oil or jojoba, depending on where you live. There's tons and tons of carrier oils. So that's how we would dilute our oils or use them in the case of emergency if you get them in your eyes. Other ways topically to use our oils is you've probably heard of reflexology. So hands, ears, spine, feet, you can Google or use your Brave browser, whichever browser you use, and look up reflexology points, and you can target oils directly. So let's say I'm trying to target an organ like a liver, that I want to detox my liver or, support my liver. Can find those reflexology, or we call it VitaFlex points in oil speak. Same thing, just put that oil directly where you want on your reflexology point. So that's topical, first way. Second way you can use your essential oil is internally. So yes, these essential oils are safe to use internally. In fact, many of ours have a special label called a vitality, and that just means that we can use them internally. Now, our oils used to be labeled for both topical and internal usage, and then we were told that we could only be a cosmetic or a supplement. You could not be both on the same bottle. It is the same oil in both bottles, different labels. So don't stress out about that, okay? So how do we use our oils internally? So I told you guys before the call started that I have essential oils in my water. So general rule, whatever the oil smells like, it's gonna taste like. So if you don't, when you smell it and you think, I don't want to taste that, then that is something you might want to put in a capsule. So we have veggie capsules you can put essential oils in. And I would add a carrier oil like coconut or avocado oil in there, and you can take it internally. A spoonful of honey is another great way to use an essential oil. So that's number 2, internal. The third way is aromatic, or smelling the oil. The fastest way to affect your brain through your limbic system is by the sense of smell. So what does that mean? So there are diffuser necklaces and jewelry you can wear. You can open a bottle and huff it. And we really love the technique in our team called scent tinting. You put a drop in your hand, you just put it And you just breathe, because it's amazing. Breathing is really good for you. When you add an essential oil to that, breathing is multiplied by like 1,000,000 times when you add in that essential oil and you just breathe and slowly take 10 breaths. It's a great way to calm the body down when you just need to chill out. Yes, and thank you for the reminder. When you are drinking your essential oils, you do not want to be putting citrus oils into plastic, because citrus oils are amazing at pulling the petrochemicals and plasticizers out of our body. So we don't want to be putting more in when they're pulling them out of a plastic. So stainless steel and glass, even ceramic, these are great things to drink our essential oils out of. So I would argue the fourth way to use an essential oil is an ultrasonic diffuser. And what that does is it's just breaking the essential oils up into the air, and you're kind of getting all the benefits at once, right? Those oils are landing on your skin and working topically. You're breathing them into your body, which works very much like internally, and you're smelling the oil, so it's affecting your emotions. So if you want to manipulate the health and emotions in your house, diffuse the oils that you need your family to breathe in, right? So if my husband has been really grumpy and I know he's going to come home grumpy, then I want to be diffusing something when he walks in first from the door, so that it calms his body down. It makes him feel happy. So when he walks in, it's actually amazing is that the brain will recognize the smell before the nose recognizes it. That's how quickly they get into our bodies and affect our brains. So many great ways to use essential oils to support our family and our bodies. So Young Living really is a lifestyle company. It actually started off as an essential oil, as a supplement company, then supplements infused by essential oils, then essential oils, and then the demand was huge. The people using Young Living kept begging for more and more products. We need oral health, we need cleaning products, we need skincare, we need makeup, we need animal products, we need men's products, we need all of these things, right? Because it's so hard to find products that you really can trust that are out there. So Young Living is really now a lifestyle company. So we're going to touch on just a few pieces of the lifestyle with some stories now, and I'm going to hand it over to, I forgot who's the first one who's speaking today. I think it might be Christy. Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm going to change the view here.
Awesome. I don't know what time it is, guys. Good afternoon, I'm guessing. My name is Christy Zittel. I'm a retired midwife. I have 13 children. They are all mine. And that's how I actually got started with Young Living. I had retired from midwifery, and I was probably about 6 months out. In my midwifery, I have a degree in herbology. I have certificates in homeopathy, because we used all of those natural things for our clients. My clients chose home birth as their birthing option. And so we did as much as we could with preventative treatment versus let's put out fires. And so when I retired from my business, I sold my herbal business at the same time, and I got incredibly sick. I had been around a bunch of little 5-year-old kindergartners, and, they're very sweet and loving and want to hug you. And that hug gave me a pretty wicked case of bronchitis. I spent about 3 months trying to get rid of that bronchitis, doing everything in my power. I reeked of garlic, all the elderberry, all the echinacea, every single herb that I could possibly come across and think of, all these homeopathic remedies from, I can't even, Oscillocum, you name it, and I was taking it, and nothing was touching the bronchitis. That bronchitis then kind of set in to pneumonia, and my right lobe of my lung was getting pretty weak and near collapse. And in the process of that, I decided I'm going to go to a doctor. It's been 3 months. I haven't slept through the night in that time period. Without sleep, your body doesn't heal. So I knew that I was fighting a vicious battle. And I went ahead and went to a doctor. They gave me a prescription. They gave me an inhaler. I took that prescription and got worse. So when I went back to the doctor again, He gave me another broad spectrum antibiotic, a more powerful inhaler. And on that same day, I was due to get on a plane to fly to Atlanta, Georgia. My son is a chiropractor and he was being inducted into the medical portion of his program. And I had to be on an airplane with a lung that was near collapse and not having slept with no real answers. And so a friend of mine from California, sweet, sweet girl, love her to pieces now. She had seen me complaining on Facebook about how sick I was. And she mailed me a little package that came in the mail that same day. I took her box because I hadn't heard from her in a while. I threw it in my suitcase. We got on the plane. I hacked up a lung the entire trip on that flight. And in the process of that, so embarrassed, right? Like, couldn't do that today and live. But back then, that was 9 years ago. I got to the airport. We drove to the hotel. My husband was like, babe, I don't know how you're going to do this tonight. It was a 4-hour dinner and pinning ceremony. And I couldn't make it for a few minutes without like that obnoxious hacking cough. Like you're wondering, should this person be alive and out in public? And so I opened up my friend's box. Her name was Emily. And inside of it were 3 little bottles. There was a bottle of Thieves. There was a bottle of oregano. There was a bottle of frankincense. There was a little Ziploc baggie with a whole bunch of empty OO capsules and a sticky note taped to it. And on the front of the sticky note, it said, I'm tired of hearing you whine on Facebook about how sick you are. Use these. And so I flipped over the sticky note and she had some directions. She said, put a few drops of Thieves in a small amount of water, gargle and swallow, gargle and swallow. Put these oils into these capsules, 2 drops of Frank, 4 oregano, 8 Thieves. Take a capsule here and then. It was not a prescription. It was just kind of a, hey, here's what I've done. Why don't you try this? And I thought, you know what? At that point, she could have sent me capsules full of dog poop and I probably would have tried it because I was desperate. And I thought, what do I have to lose? And I had heard nothing good about essential oils, guys. I was an herbologist. I believed in homeopathy. Essential oils just smell good. That was my mentality, but I was desperate. And so I decided to follow suit. Now I'm an all or nothing gal. So I thought if one gargle session is good, I should probably do 2 or 3 before I leave for the dinner. And if one capsule is good, what if I take 2 now and 2 before the dinner? I'm so grateful that these oils are safe, that they are safe, because in my ignorance at the time, I was just like, more is best, right? More is best. But that's one of the great things I've learned about oils is that you don't have to have more. You start small and you only increase if you need it. And so I took those capsules. I went to that dinner and for 4 hours, I only coughed once. And it was a clear my throat cough. When the dinner was over, my husband just looked at me and I said, don't say a word. We're not going to jinx it. And so we got back to the hotel. I gargled a few more times. I took 4 more capsules, but I slept through the night for the first time in 3 months. When I flew home on Monday, I was supposed to be contacting my doctor and he was going to admit me to the hospital for IV antibiotics for that lung. And I told him, I'm not coughing. I don't feel congestion. I think my lung is perfectly fine. I believe that I'm healed. And he said, there's no way that the medication that I gave you could have done that quickly. And I said, yeah, I didn't use your medicine. Do you want to know what I used? And I heard click. I didn't need to tell him. Apparently he wasn't interested, but that was the start for me. I then started doing some research. I got some green in me. I need to know the answers. And that's when I found out all that Allie just told you about the farms, about knowing the difference between these oils, because these oils are not created equal. Single distillation that Young Living does is so incredibly powerful. And it's one of the main things that sets us apart, because we don't have to worry about things being in our oils that are not supposed to be there. It's literally like sucking the nectar of life straight from the plant, if our bodies were physically able to do that. I am so thankful to Young Living. 9 years and counting. I had a 6-month-old breastfeeding exclusively, my 13th child at the time, and I never had to worry that any oil I put on me or him or in me or in him was going to be an issue. because of Young Living standards of quality. I'm so thankful for it. I'm super humbled and thankful to be able to share my story. So back to you, Allie.
I'm going to hand it to Beth. Thank you so much, Christy.
Oh, hey, everybody. So my name is Beth Romanowski, and I am a retired nurse, and I have been with Young Living for going on 8 years. So being a nurse, extremely skeptical. My husband gives anesthesia, more skeptical. And my story is I'm 59 now. I was 51, and I had spent lots of years, other than when I was pregnant, on birth control. Had to have surgery. And they said, got to get off the birth control because I was having surgery for varicose veins. Got off the birth control pills, went through the surgery, and realized I was in full-blown menopause. Didn't even know it. So it was like 25, 30 hot flashes a day. I couldn't sleep, insomnia like crazy. It was just irritability, anxiety, you name it, it was what I had. So I struggled, went to the doctor. They wanted to put me on hormones. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to work with this, try to get through it. Well, again, my friend, Cassidy Hewitt, knew the struggle I was going through. And she's like, Beth, I know you're a nurse and I know you don't believe in this stuff, but please just try it. She had so much success in her family with all the seasonal stuff for every one of the kids. So she's like, there's something to this. It literally works. Try it. So we researched together and she said, you need to use Progressence Plus. That's the main thing. So Progressence Plus is actually a yam. It's made from the yam root, if you can imagine. And it's a derivative of progesterone that's 100% safe. So I bought the bottle, put on 2 roller bottle. I put a roller on it, rolled it on my carotid arteries and on my forearms twice a day. It was literally probably 3 days, 5 days, and I was significantly less flashing. The other thing that I used from the starter kit was my peppermint, because if a hot flash came, I mean, I was taking my clothes off in the store, fanning myself. It was totally embarrassing. So took that roller bottle of peppermint, stuck a little on my neck. I was like in air conditioning. So it was amazing. Probably by 2 weeks, things had totally changed. I mean, my mood, the flashes went down from 25 to probably 3 a day, and mild at that. I still struggled a little bit with the sleep. So I talked to Cassie and she's like, you got to try whatever you think is going to work. We did a lot of research. My go-to was in the diffuser, Valor, cedarwood, and lavender. 5 drops of each. I had it right next to my bed. And believe me, I'm like, how is this possibly going to work? How could this work? But I'm putting it there. I'm putting it in. I had a Tranquil roller that I used on my feet, on the soles of my feet, did that, put a little bit under my nose, put some on my wrist because I tend to sleep like this. It had to be probably on day 5. And trust me, I'm keeping my husband awake with the hot flashes, the tossing, the turning. Like he said, you flip like a fish all night long. So it's the 5th day. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, gosh, I think I slept. This is like, did I? And he's like, you freaking snored all night long. Now you're snoring. You kept me awake with the flipping like a fish, and now you're snoring. You've never snored, Beth. What is going on? Poor guy. So then, of course, thank God we have Valor and RC. So I put the Valor on my big toes, added some RC to my Valor, cedarwood, and lavender in the diffuser, and we have silent night and I sleep. So, I mean, for me as a nurse to be able to say to people that this really works, it's pretty incredible. But what I can tell you is we kept this a secret this was in November. It was finally the end of February. and we would go out to dinner with friends and talk, and and they'd be talking about health problems and things, and I'd say, kicking him under the table, like, can I say it? And he's like, don't embarrass us. Please don't embarrass us. Finally, he was like, go ahead, tell them. It clearly works. So I started to talk about it. And I'm telling you, the blessing that I've gotten personally and just sharing it with so many people on my team that have had success in their family, it's incredible. My only regret is that I didn't raise my kids on it, because, my kids are all grown and done, but they are all users now and loving it. So such a blessing. Don't ever think that there's something that, the essential oils and God gave us here on this planet that can't fix what's wrong. So that's my story.
Super. Thank you, Beth. Well, I'm Stacy McQuaid, and I have the awesome privilege to talk to you about thieves today. And I just pulled a couple of things that I absolutely love, from thieves mouthwash to thieves oil to thieves toothpaste. I will say this, and it's a funny, I have been Ziddled. She taught me how to make a great thieves mouthwash. And so I will put it in the comments after I get done speaking, but she taught me to grab an empty Ningxia Red bottle, clean it out, and you throw in a whole thing of thieves mouthwash. And then you put in, it's 10 drops of spearmint, and it's 15 drops of thieves oil, and then also 10 to 15 drops of peppermint, and you shake it up, and then I put it in a little bottle like this for everybody in my family to be able to use. They absolutely love it, because let me tell you, the thieves mouthwash, it neutralizes and helps really get your mouth super clean. I remember going to the dentist, and she goes, it's amazing, like you have very little plaque buildup on your teeth. And I was like, I know, it's great. I use all the things. Like I use thieves mouthwash, thieves toothpaste, everything thieves. Oh my gosh, thieves dental floss is amazing. Like I have a friend that had gingivitis, and she used this, and it noticed a huge difference on her teeth when she was using the products, but she really loved the thieves dental floss. She bought 20 so she could pass them out like candy to her friends. Like who buys 20 things of these dental floss and passes it out to their friends? She absolutely loved the stuff. And so make the mouthwash. It's amazing. You're going to absolutely love it. This is a pro tip for y'all that might be new. And if you have never tried any products, get back with the person that invited you today and tell them that you want some thieves cough drops. This is the most amazing thing. To me, this is kind of like a supplement, because like I use this all the time. It's just not my breath mint, but it also helps with that, that little nasally drip back there that you kind of go, you're always trying to get it out of the back. You pop one of these in your mouth and suck on it, and it is gone within a matter of seconds. I absolutely love thieves. And the pro tip is buy them now, because when we get into the thick of winter, they just might be out of stock. So like I already bought like 10 bags of these things already to stock up. So this is the time to stock up on it. And okay, so I also have to give you another little pro tip. When I first started with Young Living, I learned that there was aluminum in our deodorant, and that store-bought. And so I was like, I'm never using that again. And so then all of a sudden I started using, putting oils. I put like purification and lavender under my armpits, but then I found out that Thieves toothpaste is an amazing deodorant. So this is what I use these days. So I use Thieves toothpaste for deodorant. It's amazing. And I hear that people absolutely that sweat a lot, like it works, and they don't have to reapply because it works all day long for them. So and the whitening toothpaste, I think it might be out of stock. I hear it's coming back in real soon, so hang tight. But I do have one more left. So this is the best whitening toothpaste out there on the market. I absolutely love it. And then I'm going to tell you about another supplement that I absolutely love is Master Formula. That is an all around, if you don't know where to start on getting a supplement into your life and going, I need to boost my immune system and help it and give it a well-round like shot, Master Formula is your key to that. So I absolutely love everything from Young Living, because just like Allie talked about, we know we know where the things come from. Our hand is on the product from the time it is in this, goes into the soil until it gets to our doorstep, which I absolutely love. So I think I'm turning it back over to Allie so she can round us out on this portion.
Thank you all for telling your stories. That's amazing. I want to talk about ways to save money because it's always a very important thing, but especially right now, like everyone is looking to get the most out of their dollar or whatever currency you use in your country. So let's talk about the 3 ways to save money with Young Living. So the first way is become a member. Every country is a little bit different. So in the US, you can subscribe to any product to get 24% off in your member pricing, or you can place a 100 product value order to get the 24% off. Every country also has some very specially curated starter kits, which have a huge discount. So that's another way that you can save money. The second way to save money is that when you get on Subscribe to Save, in some countries it's called Essential Rewards, you will get money back if you spend at least 50 product value a month. The first 3 months you get 10%. After 3 months, you get 20%. And after 25 months, you get 25% back on every dollar you spend, which act as just a bucket of cash with Young Living that you can spend on anything with product value. The third way to save or really make money is when you become obsessed with these products, like everyone you've heard about, it's hard not to become obsessed with these products when you feel empowered and you have all of these stories of how they've changed your life. When you just tell people about these products and give them your link to buy them from Young Living will send you a thank you check to do that. So we're going to talk about now the stories of people who just started authentically telling their friends about Young Living. And we're going to start with Alexia Blumenthal. So I'm going to ask her to, perfect. I'm going to replace the spotlight here for you, Alexia.
All right, hello everybody. So I bought my first oils retail in 2014, and I was so busy with other things in my life that I didn't pursue Young Living any further. But 7 years later, it took a garage fire and COVID for me to reach out again to Ali and finally enroll with a basic starter kit and a couple of oils. Now, a year after that, I'm a very happy brand partner using Young Living products every single day. This shows you that when you speak with someone about Young Living, you just don't know when that seed that you just planted will come to fruition. So after I bought my kit, I felt that I needed to gather a lot of information. I attended classes like this one, asked tons of questions, participated in coaching sessions, read books, and then I started taking baby steps, sharing the product casually. I felt that doing little was better than doing nothing, and that every baby step was a building block towards what I was building. Now, needless to say, some fears popped up here and there, and it took some time to figure those out. And the very best thing that helped me overcome those fears was, and still is, to remember the reason why I'm doing all this. Remember that I'm here to help people, to help them improve their lifestyle, live a healthier life. So just very important, remember that you're here really to make a difference in somebody's life. And as long as you focus on that, you will see that fears will start to dissipate. It's also important to integrate that, because when your drive really comes from a genuine desire to play a role in somebody's health journey, healing journey, you will be motivated to really go all in, to show up and really do whatever it takes to help anyone who comes your way. So one day I decided that I was ready to really give it everything I could. And I became much more focused, diligent, proactive, and I took the habit of saying yes to every opportunity to meet new people. And at that point, I learned another very important lesson, which is to recognize that not every person that you talk to will become a Young Living customer. Not everyone will be interested, and that's okay. So for those who become customer, that's great. But those who don't, I see them as teachers, because every interaction, every conversation, every question I have to research for them, every message, every follow-up, every link I have to think of sending them, in the end, makes me a better leader than I was before that interaction. So do not get discouraged if not everyone that you talk to becomes a customer. They might need some time. Remember that people like me, I bought my first oils 8 years ago now. It took me 7 years until I was ready to do this, and I love it, and I can't imagine being without my oils and all of my other Young Living products.
Thank you so much, Alexia. Shelly, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi. So I'm Shelly Wander, and I'm from Iowa. And I started my journey with Young Living back about almost 8 years ago. And I actually just started sharing with people, and really actively started working, doing shows and teaching classes back in like 2019. Just fell in love not only with the products, but with my Young Living family. And through some traumatic circumstances, my daughter was in an accident, and I had to step back. And during that step back time, I actually hit executive at that time, and my team just grouped around me and helped me. And my daughter had passed away in January. And after I kind of pulled myself together, I started building again and doing more shows and reaching out to people. And my heart is to reach people more on an emotional level. I do a lot of emotional talk, and because our emotions do affect our health. And Young Living provides awesome ways to not only help with emotions, but helps to heal our body and heal our mind. And that's kind of how my journey has continued. And just to provide hope for others and to provide care. And so I continue to build. Long story short, I now do Young Living full time, and which has allowed me time to heal and grieve, but yet build. And it's been a very good thing. Young Living is amazing. The products are amazing. The products speak for themselves. The people behind it are filled with God and love the Lord. And with God and the oils, we can do anything. So that's kind of my story. And looking forward to diving down this weekend. So whoever else is going to be there, we'll say hi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelly. That's such a powerful story. I'm so sorry for your loss and happy that you have this family. So Karen, you are up next. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Serrano, and I have been a Young Living member for just over 3 years. So I just want to give you a little background on my story before I dive into kind of like how I caught the vision for this business. So I used to be an early childhood educator, and when I was about 6 months pregnant, I decided to quit my job because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mama. At the time, we were living in California, and California is a very expensive state. If you've been to California or if you live in California, you just know how ridiculously expensive it is to live there. And at the time, we were on a single income household. And of course, when you're in single income household, you don't have a lot of room for a lot of different products. So you usually kind of go the more inexpensive route. And at the time, I also wasn't really educated on the products that I was bringing into my home. So you could probably tell where this story is going. I was bringing in a really big toxin load into my home. But again, we had really small means. So, we were doing what we could. And so after my son was born, about 21 months later, I had my second son. And I was still at home, and we were really beginning to struggle. And, coming from an immigrant family, I knew that I wanted to change the trajectory of my family's life. I didn't want to go through the same struggles that my parents did. My parents are actually from Guatemala. I think someone else here on the call said they're from Guatemala as well. There was just so much that my parents went through that I knew that I didn't want to put my children through those same struggles. So we moved to Colorado. I'm in Colorado now. And that same year that we moved to Colorado, my children started preschool. So as you can imagine, when your children start school, they start getting exposed to all kinds of germs, right? And literally every single week, my kids were coming down with something. And I was desperate. I was desperate for something more. But before I got started with Young Living, I had actually tried different essential oils. And I actually got started with a different company who is the competitor. I was with them for about a year, but the essential oils actually didn't work for us. So between the time that I stopped using those oils and I joined Young Living, I actually tried about almost 24 different essential oil brands. And as Ali mentioned, there is absolutely zero regulation when it comes to essential oils. So you are kind of just left hanging, not knowing unless you have the education, which now I am so grateful for Young Living because they are providing us with all the education and the resources. And of course, incredible communities like this one where we're able to get educated and have the research and the tools at our fingertips to better not only equip ourselves, but other families, right? So the month that I got started with Young Living, I kind of knew what I wanted to get. I had started doing some of my own research, but I reached out to a friend desperate because my kids, again, were getting sick every single week. And I was done going to the doctor. I was done putting my kids on antibiotics. I was done with it. I was fed up. I was tired. I knew my kids were tired. So I grabbed my oils literally the first week that I brought the oils into my home. And I also got the Thieves Essential Rewards packet that same month. And I thought my husband was going to kill me because we were on a single income household. So I knew I had to do something about it. So that package comes, I literally open up, and within a week, I saw huge changes in my home. And my husband was like, well, Karen, if you want to be spending this kind of money, and again, it wasn't a lot, but because we were on a single income household, it was a lot for us. He's like, you're gonna have to do something. And I was like, just give me a few months. I'm gonna make something happen with this because these products literally have changed our lives. So he was like, all right, do what you gotta do. So because I had the two small boys, I was running around for pickup and drop-offs. We were new to Colorado. I literally had no community here. I had no friends. I was just getting started to know all the mamas at school. I started sharing online. And through sharing online, I was able to share my heart and my story with others. And my little oily community that started with just myself blossomed. And just like when you throw a pebble in the water, there is that ripple effect. And now I have built this incredible community with a group of like-minded individuals and women and families who all have the same goal in mind to bring wellness into their homes. And of course, we have others who are sharing wellness with others. And it's just been such a beautiful thing. So what started as me having this vision to, just make a change in my family's life and not follow the footsteps of what my parents had gone through. It has been such an amazing thing to be a part of Young Living, where they literally celebrate all your wins. Just last year, I was actually one of the top 100 global distributors with Young Living, winning Bora Bora. And I will tell you right now, you guys, I had zero marketing experience, zero social media experience. I'm an introvert by heart. I am super shy in social settings. I'm like, my heart is beating so hard right now. I am nervous, but this business opportunity, this community, these products, this company has literally given me a voice to be able to go share with others. And now I'm proud to say that we are a double income household. We are on our way to being debt free. And if you want this, you can make it happen. Literally anybody can make this business happen as long as you want to make it work. So grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to share here with you today. And if you have any dreams and big goals, just go and run for them, because I was in your shoes at one point and I'm here today. And I'm so grateful for Young Living.
Thank you so much, Karen. I love hearing these stories. We have one more to tell us a story today. So Kim, can you just unmute yourself?
Hey. Hi. Oh, I'm so excited to share with you today. My name is Kim. I'm from Texas, right outside of Houston. I have been with Young Living since 2013. My sister signed up a few months before me and told me I absolutely had to get the kit. I didn't have a choice. And I was super skeptical, didn't know that there was any income opportunity attached to it. I basically just did what I was told, but I couldn't do it in the beginning because we were so broke. I could not afford a starter kit. So I had to wait a couple months. I had to wait till we got our income tax check to get the starter kit. We got the starter kit in our home. That was when there was no diffuser with it. And so I used my coupon. I was the one that actually used the coupon, and because I needed that extra money, and got my diffuser and started using the oils. And my sister was right. Like, we needed them. We needed to start incorporating them into our home. And so I just started diffusing. I started really small. And then we came across our first tummy bug, and I used the oils to help my family get through that and it just changed everything about what I knew about a tummy bug. And I thought, well, this is coincidence, like what? And sure enough, it wasn't. And I thought, okay, I've got to figure out, just like Karen, I've got to figure out how to get these in my home. Like, my husband's not going to let me continue just, going in debt to get oils. So let me figure this out. So I started sharing. The difference is, though, I started sharing, I started talking to my friends and family. I started, having get-togethers, sharing online, learned Facebook just to share. And I did not get a single sign up for 8 months. 8 months I shared. And I thought I was doing all the right things, but for whatever reason, it wasn't clicking. And I met up with a person who was my leader at the time. And it was several months into it. And I said, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like, something's not clicking here. Like, I see people are growing around me. I see this community of people working Young Living. I see moms making money and staying home. Like, they're affording their oils. Like, what's going on? And she said, don't give up. And the red in me was like, whatever. Like, why are you not giving me like any actual how-tos? Like, I need some strategy here. And she's like, no, really, like, you need to just keep going at it. And I was like, okay. So I drove, I live in Texas. I was in an event in Alabama at the time. I drove 10 hours home, giving up, like basically saying, well, she gave me absolutely no advice whatsoever. Everybody there's doing it and I'm not. So it's time for me to just, figure something else out. Like, I can't just sit around and wait for this to happen. We were drowning at home with our finances, which is a very long story, but my husband was working extra hours. We had a lot of financial things going on, and we were literally like drowning. And so I thought, well, I'll just get a waitress job again. I was already working 2 part-time jobs as it was. I'll just take on something extra. And when I got home, I learned that the diffuser was being added to the starter kit. And I thought, okay, I'm going to promote this. This is last ditch effort. Like, there are, I had a list of maybe like 40 people, which seems like a lot, but it took me like 6 to 8 months to make this list. So like, that really actually wasn't that many people. And I said, you know what, this is it. I'm going to call every one of them. I'm going to contact every one of them. And if they want a kit, great. If they don't, fine. So I literally called every one of them or text them or whatever and said, hey, so they're adding the diffuser to the starter kit at no extra cost. Like, do you want one or not? And they were like, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, let me figure out how to sign you up. And that is how my business started. Within a month, I went from star to executive. And then within a couple of months, I was silver. Within that next year in 2014, I had hit platinum. And then in 2016, I hit the rank of diamond. In the midst of all of that, as I started growing and I was growing fast, it was mostly because I had built the framework in those months that I was sharing and nobody was enrolling. And then also that December, so I hit executive 2013, September of 2013, and then I hit silver in November of 2013. And then in December, I had to really to maintain silver. That December, my husband lost his job. Just a few days before Christmas, we were served foreclosure papers and my van was repoed. And so all of those things that had built up over that time, my biggest goal with Young Living was to make a house payment. I just needed $1,100. Like, that was all I needed. And I fought really hard. As soon as the ball started rolling, I shared every day. I worked it every day. In between, I'd stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. I would do whatever it took because I saw it was working. And I knew that I had to chase that dream down. So it started out just for some fees and lavender, which turned into a mortgage payment, which now has turned into, we tithe more a month to our church now than way more than we made a month 9 years ago. And it's turned into, how can I serve my community? How can I serve those around me? How can I see people be able to pay their mortgage payment and not have to worry, especially in a time that we're in right now? Like, people are losing their jobs. People can't get jobs. Like, we have such an amazing gift to give. And then I'll leave you with this. On my silver retreat, which I was so excited to go, I went on all the retreats that year. I went on my silver retreat, and precious Gary Young was there, and we were able to just ask him questions. Raise your hand if you were at that silver retreat. He was sitting on a picnic table under a tent. They called, tons of people were under there taking notes, asking him questions. He was just answering all the protocols, all the things. It was amazing. And I took 36 pages of notes. So that goes to show you like how awesome it was. They came up and said, hey, it's harvest time. Who wants to go harvest lavender? And nobody got up. That's how amazing it was. And a precious little girl, I don't even know. I mean, she was a woman. I felt so bad for her. She asked a question. She stood up and she asked a question. I don't even know who it was. And she said, so I'm having meetings, but I don't ever talk about doing this as a business because I just don't want people to feel uncomfortable and leave. And Carrie so boldly said, I created Young Living in the way that I did so that people could not only have freedom in their wellness and in their health, but so they could have freedom financially. If you do not tell every single person that there is an opportunity to make money, you are doing them a disservice. And she bowed her head and sat down, and I felt so bad for her, but I will never forget how bold he was when he said that. And it just changed the course of my thinking about Young Living. I can never not tell someone that there's an opportunity for financial freedom, because you never know who had been praying that prayer right before they met with you, that they would find that answer to supplement income, to go on that family vacation, to pay off that debt, to pay for their kids to go to college, to replace maybe a job they're about to lose, or pay some medical bills, or let their husband come home and not have to get jabbed. So I love y'all. Thank you for letting me share today.
What a powerful story, Kim. So I know that we are over time, but I just want to tell you that please reach out to the person that invited you to this call if you haven't gotten started with Young Living yet. They will set you up to save money in the best way and to get your family started in this health and wellness journey. Also, we have classes all the time to educate everyone on how to use the oils. So please plug into the resources for your team. Your team is whoever enrolls you and their people around them, this community. So you will find there are Facebook groups and WhatsApp chats and Telegram chats and Zoom calls and all the things, and you just plug into what serves you. And tomorrow is our next class, and we are doing a holiday DIY, which is a great way to save money on gifts for your family and friends, and give them something that is healthy and nourishing, etc. So thank you so much for joining, and we're so happy that you have spent the time with us today. Have a great day.